lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, please call the roll.
Ronald Colley,
Yes.
Brett DeRoche,
Here.
Mitch Stanoff,
Here.
Roland Curall,
Here.
Roland Guidry,
Here.
Brian Marks,
Here.
Neely Rome,
Here.
Keith Guidry,
Here.
Monty Vegas.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a call.
Okay, you've been furnished with a copy of the minutes for the last meeting. Any corrections, deletions, or additions to those minutes as presented? If not, I need a motion. Moved by Roland, second by Keith. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, we have the millage rates for the year 2021. For the resolution I have to read is resolution number 2021-01. Be it resolved that the following villages are hereby levied on the 2021 tax roll and all properties subject to taxation by the South Lafourche Levee District. By ad valorem tax, 1047, 007, millage 4.860 mils, construction and maintenance, 1047,086, 5.00 mils. Section 2, be it further resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the South Lafourche Levee District, Parish of Lafourche, Louisiana, the proper administrative officials of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, be and they are hereby empowered, authorized, and directed to spread said taxes as herein above set forth upon the assessment rolls of said parish for the year 2021, and to make the collection of the taxes imposed for and on behalf of the taxing authority according to law. And the taxes should herein levied shall become a permanent lien and privilege on all property subject to taxation as herein set forth, and collection thereof shall be enforceable in a manner provided by law. The foregoing resolution was read in full, the roll was called, and adoption, and resolution was adopted with the following votes. Please call the roll.
Ronald Colley,
Yes.
Brett DeRoche,
Yes.
Mitch Stanoff,
Yes.
Roland Curall, Roland Guidry,
Yes.
Brian Marks,
Yes.
Neely Rome,
Yes.
Keith Guidry,
Yes.
and Monty Vegas.
Yes.
The results being yeas 9 and nays no, abstention nothing, absent nothing. And this was approved on this 10th day of May 21st, 2021. That's it. That time. Okay, ALDL workshop update. Wendell and I went and represented the board on this, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't get anything out of it. It was a lot of people talking, but there was nothing new, nothing, I mean, y'all, I don't know if y'all got anything out of it.
Just one thing, flood insurance. The federal government is, the flood insurance going over. We work real hard with this LAMP program to them to take real data on the ground and use it. And what I'm seeing is they're saying, we're gonna use all the information we have, which is basically computer models and their information, which is not, it's a lot more sketchy than the information that we have. And that concerns me a lot, that if they're gonna generalize everything, and if you don't fit, we don't fit their computer model. The way they set it up, they look at a hurricane valley, a flood valley, a flood risk, and they always have an area where the land finally goes up. Well, for us, when you're heading south, the only land that comes up is the Yucatan Peninsula. They don't have a computer model that understands how to do that. So if they're gonna centralize it more, which is looking what they wanna do, it's a not good use for the work that we've done. We've been successful because we've been able to prove why we're not flooding. If they don't let us do that, it's not good. So we're gonna have a big battle to at least keep the reality on the ground instead of their computer models and what they think is reality. Because look, computer output, that's not data, that's output. Data is something that you know where it's at, you can investigate it. So that's the biggest concern that I got out of the discussions that we had.
Also, we found out that we will have an annual meeting this year at the Hilton. And from all indications, it will be a normal meeting that we usually have, with everyone avoiding with the COVID restrictions. Unless something happens between now and then, COVID restrictions will be greatly reduced. And that is going to be December the 7th, 8th, I think, or 8th and 9th. But you'll get some information in there on that. And that's all I have. Anybody have any questions on this? We might be enlightening you. If not, we'll move on to the audience. Anybody in the audience for the purpose of addressing the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to general manager report. Wendell?
So this is my presentation. A lot of slides, I'm going to go through pretty quickly, but I did a good job. It was a big one.
This slide?
Just to kind of refresh how bad things are, I got Joe Saheda years ago to digitize a state map, and this was the 1839 state map. And digitize it like we digitize a map today. And these are the days, 1839, when the river was still overflowing its banks a lot. And you can see marsh almost all the way to Ile de Yan in Terrebonne Parish, solid marsh to the Himalaya Islands, and then you look almost solid marsh to the back of Grand Isle. And Blackman Parish was a real thick parish. 1839, digitize a map from 1993. I mean, as bad as that looks, comparing the two, on the ground, it's even worse. You know, and that's the kind of change. And look, just the change since 1950 is amazing. And people, we're kind of used to it. That's why we don't notice how bad it is. But you know, our land is changing. What it takes other places 1,000 years, we're getting into it in 100 years. And that's why the work that we do and why we got to stay ahead and pay attention. The communities in South Louisiana, if they're going to have a future, you have to will it. You got to work at it. If you just are passive, your community doesn't survive. And you can look at the situation that Levee's in and the comparison to where we are. Without a levee, we look like Levee. If Levee had a levee, it would look like us. So that's just a message that we got to keep telling everybody. And here's kind of closer reality, and you know, we used to be surrounded by marsh, and now the Gulf of Mexico is almost at our edge. That's why we got to keep on fighting the way we're fighting. But there's still some new land being built in Chaplain Basin. You know, Grand Lake used to be a lake, and now it's just the Chaplain River. Little Lake used to be little, and now it's Grand. Okay? And it shows the forces and what built South Louisiana and why it continues to be a risk to us, and why we got to keep on working the way we work. And of course, maintaining our system. I'll show you this before, but the gates being back in place, full operational lock again, and dependable. The problem's taken care of. We can grease it good. We know it's going to operate well. Joe, Ben, any comments since we've had the gates in? Everything like it's supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, they've been going back and forth, adjusting the cables and making some slight adjustments, but it seems like everything's working correct.
That's fine, good. And again, I want to, that same picture I told you about, the first time, the only time that I've seen the bank, Borough Canal get overflowed. There's a levee, this is the berm of the water. And, you know, the rains they had in New Orleans this morning, could have done the same thing over here again. It's just when you get those heavy rains, and again, it's one of those situations where it's better to be lucky than good. But again, we have a good system, but when you get more than you can handle, the rain is going to stack up. And again, I hope we don't see this for another 20 to 40 years. Continue work on the levee. We're getting on the west side from Bully Camp toward the back area of Paul's Forum. We're getting that up to 18 feet. That's a tremendous improvement that's going on. Again, the marsh work that we had done, that used to be mostly open marsh. That was a house that came all the way to the edge of the levee. We put a pipe down with slurry, a pipeline, and it was about 200 yards from here, and actually had enough stuff just over and close the house. And then the work we've done, we closed the circle. Here's Morganza coming around, and again, the work caves turning into a real levee, and then you have the segment L that Neil's going to talk about. There's going to be some movement over here, and then where the levee intersects our levee system, this part right here is part of Morganza. And what you got, $300 million credit, Mitch?
So far.
Yeah, and so we get some more because it's so good. And then the key things kind of going on. is that the biggest thing to really make a big difference for the whole area is to have a floodgate on the intercoastal canal on the east side of our system, and basically tie in our system to the Morganza system. That way, if you get a storm, they'll shut that gate, and we can have a lot less to worry about along the intercoastal canal, and a tremendous help to the people in North Lafourche and Terrebonne from flooding from this side. But as the levee goes past the intercoastal north, that goes into North Lafourche, and they handle that part. But the parts over here, Terrebonne is handling the cost, and with some help from North Lafourche. And then here's Pontchartrain floodgate, and that's the southernmost area that's connected to this section K that we're building, but Terrebonne and North Lafourche and the state providing the funding to get it done. And that little, we had our mitigation levee was here, 4 to 5 feet, and now it's really turning into levees. There's real progress going on there. What is it, 1.6 million cubic yards that we dug out the Grand Bayou?
Yep.
And pretty soon we talk about getting another 700,000 cubic yards. This levee is going to be substantial in not too long, but it's substantial now. I mean, the progress is taking place. This is some FEMA dirt. Some of the dirt was washed away by, which storm was it? Barry? Barry washed it away. FEMA's paying for it and bringing it in by barge, and some of it's being trucked in. But all of this is helping to get the low areas. There's a few low areas. A lot of the levees up to 8 to 10 feet. But hitting the low areas, as always, you judge your protection on your lowest spot, because that's where the hole in the system is. And they're taking care of the low spots, and there's going to be really good improvements for this year. And then again, the Grand Bayou floodgate is on schedule to be in place and useful by August of this year. That's you start getting the heart of the hurricane season. So with the improvement on K, and with the floodgate going in, and this was the temporary structure that was there that helped keep some water out, and the more water coming, the more would have kept out. But it did its job. Now the work in Golden Meadow, this is the wall at the Golden Meadow pump station. It was at 13, and now it's getting close to completion at 17-foot elevation. That's a tremendous improvement in our flood protection here by going from 13 to 17. Our levees in Golden Meadow are between 17 and 18. And so getting that gap closed, and even if it's slightly over the top, it's a strong structure and could stand some overtopping. But getting to 17 would really reduce the odds of being over top. And then, you look across Yankee Canal, how close the water is once you get past on the other side of our levee. Okay, here we look at north, same wall, here's the Golden Meadow pump station. Remember, the 4-lane highway, you drive on it, you think you on high and dry land. Well, it's dry, but it's not high. That roadway is below sea level in a lot of places in Golden Meadow. And then you see again, that don't look like 1950. You still have this losing the march, and water gets closer to us. And then here we are looking west. There's a 4-lane looking west toward Terrebonne Parish, and Catfish Lake is broken out of its boundaries, and that's why we have to ensure that we keep these levees as high as we can and as strong as we can. And now we're looking south. There's a 4-lane. Here's the Golden Meadow pump station. The improved wall. The town maintains the water in the Borough Canal on -9. We keep ours at -7. But that's at a -9, and over here's a +1. So every day you got a 10-foot differential from the outside of the system to the inside of the system to Golden Meadow. And again, the road over here is not much above 1, if it is above 1. There's a different view looking southwest, again, to that big open area on the 308 side when you get past Yankee Canal. Again, another view. Okay, here's the work on E-North. We've talked to the state. It allowed us to enclose more of E-North and raise the levee to, I think we're going to 14.5. We had dropped below 13. And so we're bringing it back up. And this is working out real well. Here's Superior Dock. We were supposed to stop here, but because the cost is working out well, and we have some, state money through Gomesa. We're gonna continue to the corner and try to get all the way to the boat launch. And if we do that, we really can improve the flood protection in this area a lot, and which protects the whole system. The land here is at a -9 inside the farm. There are places that are down to -9. And we're getting this up to about 14.5 foot elevation. And then there's a superior dock, and we've been delivering the dirt here to this corner, and then we'll proceed to the other corner. Again, superior dock looking west now, and this is the corner that it meets with east-south. Again, this is Clovelly, and east-south goes from Clovelly to Breton Canal. And I'm not sure, let's see, again, dirt was placed, and our machines are helping to shape it into a levee and bring it up to 14.5 feet. And this is not good when you have an acute angle. A hurricane, I want to say, I forgot if it was Rita, but we had, water was 3 feet higher in this corner compared to when you got away from the corner over here. You can see the debris line kind of go up. So we've always tried to build this up 3 feet higher than we do the surrounding levees in this area. And here's where we, pit that was donated by the Scully people. They allowed us to expand their canal and make it fit out, and that's where we're getting the dirt for the project. And this is east-south, again, this is Scully and Clovelly going toward Breton Canal. Again, this had dropped below 13 feet. I mentioned 13 feet because that's the level that the levee has to be for us to get the benefits of our flood insurance. So we're making sure to maintain above that level. And that's that angle I'm talking about. We had actually approached the Corps and said, look, guys, how about we just jump across from this point here, somewhere, connect over here at that Superior Dock. Then you don't have this acute angle at all. And the Corps at that time didn't do it. Now after Katrina, they don't let these angles take place. But, you know, as I said, it's one of the cases where to be obtuse is actually to improve your situation rather than to be fuzzy. All you geometry people. You gotta know geometry and English.
And
Again, and on the west side, this is section F. Again, we had parts of this levee which was 13 feet. This is from Scully all the way to Delta Farms Road. Some of this has subsided below 13 feet, so we're bringing that back up to about 14.5. They're trucking in this job. And in this area, we have some good fresh marsh and not having the erosion problem that we have on the lower area and also on the west side. Again, this is progressing pretty good. When we think we have this finished?
Sometime next year.
Okay, early January, you think?
Sometime after the first of the year, yeah.
After the first, okay. But again, it's a big building. Here we are looking north toward Delta Farms Road, and again, getting the elevation up to about 14.5. But again, we're taking care of a lot of, if you look up on this graph here, I just put these kind of rough areas in green. All of these areas are being worked on right now to raise those levels up. So there's a lot of linear feet being elevated still, and we're going to keep doing that into the next 2-3 years. We have the agreement with the state for the emergency barge work, and we need to be able to approve that agreement provided by the state to us, and that's to pay for the money that to do that work. We need a motion and a second.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our general managers to approve this. No wishes. Moved by Monty, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
All right, I talked about the floodgate on the coastal, on the east side. And then, on Lakeville, we have a large number of plastic sheet pile that was damaged from one of the storms, and we took out the damaged ones, we have them behind here. They're not the easiest to work with, but they can be used again. But, I've offered some, if you'll allow it, we'll donate whatever Terrebonne wants out of the stockpile that we have for them to help take care of the section K levee, which is not an erosion issue. And then whatever they don't want, I'm asking that you'll allow us to advertise it. We had a couple of people interested in buying it. So if you'll allow, we'll donate what Terrebonne wants and then advertise for the rest of it to be the high bidder can get.
Okay, upon the recommendation of our general manager, we'd like to be able to approve the donation to Terrebonne and the sale of the remainder of the sheet piles. Moved by Max, second by Vacant. Brett. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's an inside joke. Explanation, on the cover sheet, they have everybody listed, and his position, they got vacant position. Anyway,
They were just talking about between the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Also, you need a motion to extend the CPRA agreement to extend it to December from the ending period of October with all the amendments since that time.
Yeah, it's the
That's
same
as much
agreement.
information I've got. Daniel, do you have any further explanation on that? Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, what it is though, no, this comes from Baton Rouge. We have a governmental agreement with them, and this is saying the project is not finished, so we'll go to December, so the project can be finished, so the agreement is gonna last to the end.
Based on that explanation, I need a motion and a second. Moved by Keith, second by Roland. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Thank you. I'll have.
Any questions of our general manager? If not, we'll move on to engineering report, CPRA, Daniel.
Good afternoon. I don't have a report. A few things that are discussed and or will be brought up by someone, so nothing for that.
So you just as soon have been on Zoom, huh?
It's better to be here. Believe me.
Better with the food.
Much more interaction.
Any questions of the Daniel? Not remove, no one from the Corps. Project engineers, Ms. Yule.
Yes, on E-North levee improvements, Grand Isle Shipyard's a contractor. He's excavating borrow in the third section of the pits that we have on the Scully property. And they hauled material in that section from Superior Dock to the southeast corner of the Clovelly levee. They're making decent progress when the weather's good, but the weather hadn't been really good, so they're not making good progress this month. If he does get some good weather, I imagine he'll finish it up fairly quickly. He has pay application number 12 on the agenda in the amount of $32,459.37, and we do recommend you approve that.
Okay, you did a recommendation of engineers to pay request number 12 in the amount of $32,459.37 to Grand Isle Shipyard. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Monty, second by Rich. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
On D-South levee improvements, SBL is the contractor. We do have a clear lien certificate, which clears out the job. The job is complete. We have the change order number 2, which is the balancing of final contract quantities, which is a deduction of $315,920.39 and an additional 140 days of contract time to bring him up to when he actually finished this part of the job. We do recommend you approve that. Also, I think the attorney has a separate agreement that the levee district and SBL came to agreement to. I don't know if that's, y'all wanna take that up now or
Oh, yeah,
not?
again, this is the mutual release and settlement agreement. Ray has not completed it, but we would like for the board to give Ronald the right upon his approval to get that done, so we don't have to wait for the next board meeting. Y'all okay with that?
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard a recommendation by the engineers and our general manager that we pay then 13,000, pay request number 13,000, 13 in the amount of $13,329.05, and that we also sign the final agreement.
Change order number 2
And,
and agreement. It'll be
okay.
310.
Okay, gentlemen, your wishes. Moved by Amadi, seconded by Mac. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And on D South, grading and shaping, SBL is also the contractor. He has also submitted the clear lien certificate. We have change order number 2 on this one. And it says a deduct in the amount of $65,700 even. That's also for balancing final contract quantities. And we also have pay application number 9, which is the retainage to close out the job, which is $3,430 even. We do recommend you approve both of those.
Okay, we've heard the recommendation of engineers that change order number 2 for reduction of $65,700 for final balancing the contract, plus a request number 9 in the amount of $3,430. That is the retainage. No wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Roland, second by Roland. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
On section F, that project's from the Levee Levee all the way to Delta Farms Road. The contractor is Onshore Materials. This is an off-site borrow. He's taking material out of a pit that he bought and hauling it on the levee section to elevate the levee. He's making decent progress. I mean, even when the weather's bad, he's been making good progress, hauling as much as he can. Pay application number 3 is on the agenda in the amount of $205,721.10. We recommend you approve that.
Okay, your request will be change order number 1 and pay request
That's right.
number 3.
I didn't have it on my agenda, I'm sorry. Change order number 1 is for, I got it here.
$189,089.23 with 25 additional.
working days, that's right. And that's to add material to those 2 sections that are seeping. So we're gonna elevate the berm in that area over those 2 areas that were seeping. Wendell talked about in the last meeting. So we're adding material to his contract to take care of those 2 areas.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineers for these 2 matters. We'll take them under one consideration, one vote. Change order number 1, $189,089.23, an additional 25 working days, plus pay request number 3, an amount of $205,721.10. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Matt, second by Brett. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, and go to Meta Pump Station flood wall, Sea Level Construction is a contractor. He's got a little bit left to paint, to finish that up, and he's working on the levee tie-ins on both ends. He's got the southern end, most of the dirt's in, and then after that, once that dirt's in, he'll put some revetment mat on top of it. So he is making big progress. He's gonna be close at the end of next Monday if not finished, so. This is going well. We do have pay application number 7 in the amount of $37,561.06, and we do recommend you pay that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineers to pay sea level, pay request number 7, in the amount of $37,561.06. Your wish, gentlemen. Moved by Roland, second by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And on the maintenance of the South Floodgate Circle LLC is the contractor. He's in the lien period, the job's finished. We've had him out a couple of times to adjust things, but we don't have a pay application this month. Next month we'll have retainage. And then also Wendell wanted me to talk about the La Rose Lock project. We've been working on our design. We're probably close to 90% done. Our goal is to have all of the design documents complete at the end of this month. We did submit for a permit with the Corps. We do have a state permit. We're waiting, the Corps wants to review all of our design documents. So the plan is to get those documents in their hands at the end of this month. We do have some money from the parish in the form of, let's go Mesa.
Go base some money, yeah.
That's right. And the plan, their stipulation is that we have the money spent by 2022. So part of this is gonna be paid through Levee District's money, which was mostly BP settlement money and capital outlay money, and also the parish's Go Mesa bonding. And then we're also had applied for a watershed initiative grant from the state, and Wendell's been working those inroads in Baton Rouge, trying to get us some money out of that.
You know, we got tremendous cooperation from Archie Chasson, the parish, and Chet Chasson, the Port Commission. Everybody's working real hard to try to get that done. Again, tremendous benefit for keeping Golden Meadow dry and also keeping our boat industry working so they can get through the gates. You know, get a lock and they're about to get through like they do in Golden Meadow. We've had to just stall boats in the roads because of the high water. And that's happened several times through the last year. So it's a great benefit, so that they all Archie and Chet are helping a lot of this.
These four sources total about 15 million.
Yes, sir.
What do you anticipate the cost?
We're trying to anticipate the cost will be 15 million.
Okay.
So the general concept of the design is a float-in steel barge structure similar to a dry dock that you would sink down and it would sit on piles, and it would have a seepage wall that it seals to, okay? And then in the future, you could potentially ballast it up and get it up again and then take it out again and bring it to a shipyard and have it dry docked. So you can clean it and then put it back in place.
That's opposed to Gold Meadows, which is the cement one, which is sunk in place
Yes, sir.
and anchored with.
And permanent,
bottom.
that's right. So the barge, the arrangement is that the barge is inside our protection system. Our floodgate is on the outside, and then we're gonna bring it through, and it's gonna be on the down by side of the existing gate. And so you would just tie in with walls to the bank of the bayou. The bank on the bayou on both sides is at a +8 on both sides, really. So you high enough, the bayou, the banks of the bayou is high enough to create the locking chamber that you need.
Okay, and this would shut down the bayou transportation access for what period of time?
We're probably a couple of weeks at a time. We'll probably have different closures for different processes. You're gonna have to drive sheet pile, you're gonna have to drive the piles that are gonna support it. So it is gonna be an ongoing process, probably.
So that
over-
companies can schedule their route coming through the entire. Okay. Any questions to Joe on this, if anybody wants to know information? Okay. Is that it, Joe? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, GIS engineering, John?
The first project we have is the 80s water volume retention project. We're still working with the board to issue the permit. Again, they tell us that it's on somebody's desk to send out, but they never do send it out. So we'll see when that actually happens. We're also continuing to coordinate with the pipeline companies and Entergy. Of the 7 prospective agreements, we've gotten 2 of them signed, Crimson Gulf and Central Crude, I believe are the 2 we've gotten. The ones that are giving us the most problems, and problems I mean is mostly bureaucracy problems, are Loop, Entergy, and Shell, not necessarily in that order. We've developed the servitude agreements. There are 5 servitudes, I believe, that we need to get for the project. Our plans and specs are 99% done. Once all the rest of the paperwork is done and the board chooses to move ahead, we can do so. And in front of you, we have engineering amendment number 2, an increase of $18,000, mostly to deal with the pipeline and utilities and servitude coordination.
So engineers have recommended we pay $18,000 to GIS for continued providing professional services. Your wishes, gentlemen. you. Moved by Keith, second. I'm losing you guys. Okay, any discussion on this? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Okay, next
Okay,
item.
moving on to the D-South flood wall improvements. The construction was awarded a couple of months ago to Sea Level Construction, the amount of $1,648,822. We issued them a partial notice to proceed to allow for procurement of materials on March 15th. That's going to end on May 14th, Friday. So Friday we'll issue an actual notice to proceed, and their time will start at that point.
Okay.
And CPRA is currently reviewing the final design plans and specs for phase 2. Wendell had asked that we look for an alternate to put a levee in place behind the flood wall right there, but it was a little bit even more expensive than the steel flood wall. So I assume we're still gonna go on with the steel flood wall project.
And it's a shame we've gotten so far with having to do that little bit of pump station cost. We're going up on, I don't know, $7 million for that, yeah. But anyway, best we can do right now.
Okay, the D-North ramp project, that's at the Loop facility to raise the ramp, the road in that area from +13 to +16. We received the bids on April 22nd. The lowest responsive bidder was the Lemoyne Company in the amount of $750,900 for the base bid, $760,900 for the base bid plus alternate one. That was substantially higher than the estimated budget, which was like $550,000. Again, the bid is fine, can't award that if y'all want, but discussing with Wendell, we came up with a plan B, would be to break it up into 2 different contracts. One, get potentially a local contractor to come and just excavate the material out the borrow pit on site and put it on the berm of the levee. And then once that is done and has dried out a little bit, then we can issue another project to take that material, put it in place, and repave the road.
That's the big discrepancy.
You recommend that we reject this bid and go back to 2 smaller bids, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, the big deal is that we expected the dirt, cubic yard, maybe $4 or $5 a cubic yard, maybe a little more, $23 a cubic yard. With the dirt right there, okay, you just gotta dig it up and put it there. So we looked at that, and I talked to John, I said, look, let's get a dirt contractor and just put the dirt up. Now we bid again. The guys just gotta move it less than a quarter of a mile. I mean, you just gotta roll in a truck and put it there. And it's not special dirt, it's not magic, okay? So we think we can get it, we think a reasonable price is more like $3 by each contract, or maybe $6 at the most. We think that's a reasonable chance to recoup the money that we should. That's why we ask it to rebid.
Okay, so based on those recommendations, your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Roland, second by Roland, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay.
So we will proceed on that basis. The Grand Bayou flood control structure, the flood wall is the receiving structure. All the plumbing battered 30-inch brace pile walls have been installed. The connection plates and whalers to those piles have been installed. Sheet pile installations are underway on the west side of the flood wall. Timber pile and timber works continue. The jacket seal tubes have been installed, although there's still some grouting left to be done. The landing pile installations are in progress. Pretty much everything's going on schedule. We expect this project to be done at the end of August. We have pay request number 16 for Sea Level in the amount of $612,202.40.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineers to pay Sea Level, pay request number 16 in the amount of $612,202.40. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Roland, second by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Okay, for the barge gate, that's actually going to close that structure. All the exterior painting is pretty much done. The anodes are installed. The electrical conduits are installed and they're starting to run the wires through them. Hydraulic lines are under progress. The floodlights have been installed. The batteries and fiberglass box, of course, have been installed for those. The installation of the grating is in progress. The winch and the fair lead and load seal sheave is complete, and the closing winch installation is in progress. All the Hurricane Delta and Zeta work, I believe, has been done. And I don't, what, we do, I'm sorry. We do have a pay request in the amount. Pay request in the second amount, just a little, that's a small amount this time, it's just $874,625.84.
Okay, you're doing a recommendation of engineers to pay sea level pay request number 7, amount of $874,625.84. Your wish, gentlemen. Moved by Max, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. We'll put it back.
Too late.
Okay, next.
And again, there's some minor stuff on
Sure gonna read that one, huh?
on the emergency work effort, but that's gonna be done soon.
Okay, any questions about John? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Moving next to Angela Fisher, Neil.
All right, on the B North and B South project from the Golden Meadow Park up to Basin, that contractor, Ponce Train Partners, is complete with the work. They've begun demobilizing their equipment out over the levee in Golden Meadow. We expect that they're gonna be done with demobilizing by tomorrow. On the C South levee improvement, that's from the Basin Pump Station all the way north to Apache. That contract is Grand Isle Shipyard. Construction is proceeding, it's been a little slow with the weather, but they are moving forward. And we're recommending their pay request number 12 in the amount of $9,863.36.
Okay, engineers recommend pay request number 12 in the amount of $9,863.36. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Keith, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Okay, on the Rose flood wall height improvements, this is from the corner of the intercoastal all the way out to the overpass on 308. We're raising that flood wall about 3.5 feet along the old Delta Farm Road. That contractor, sea level construction, is continuing with fabrication of items, and we're recommending approval of their first pay request for $234,718.88.
Okay, you heard the recommendation of engineers to pay sea level pay request, pay application number 1 in the amount of $234,718.88. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Brian, second by Roland. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, and last is Marganza to the Gulf Reach Ale. This is the segment of levee from the west side of the Apache Farm all the way out to Grand Bayou. Including some features across Bayou Blue. Those plans and specifications have finally been approved for advertisement by the CPRA. So this board has previously approved that advertisement. Mitch and Reggie and I visited briefly before this meeting, and we just have a few small items we're going to be clearing up over the next week or so, and we'll begin advertising. We do anticipate a couple of very minor comments from CPRA, but they've indicated that we can address those in an addendum during the bid process. So we're going to be proceeding with advertising on that this month.
Okay. Any questions of, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Would you introduce your partner in there? Nobody knows who he is.
Sure. So I have a student intern with me, Matthew Caldwell. Matthew's a senior in civil engineering at LSU. So he's worked for us in previous years in the field, and this year we have him in the office. So I'm bringing him around this summer, and we'll be working with
But
him.
all the way from the guy who works for you, your son, although you already have daughters. But we had everybody was trying to figure out who he was.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Matthew's from Shreveport, so not too far.
God's country.
Okay, next we've got,
Everybody else from Shreveport, we got a little bit.
2%.
I will not keep y'all long, because I know you don't like to hear me talk, so. Couple of things, Wendell mentioned in his slide presentation, we are aggressively pursuing construction funding and the Corps to begin work on that GIWW floodgate. So I know Wendell has sent in some support letters for that. We're looking at the infrastructure package as possibly a way to fund that floodgate. It'll be a very large floodgate, you know, a $200 million plus floodgate, but I think it's important to everybody. I mean, this one truly is important in North Lafourche, South Lafourche, and Terrebonne. So, you know, the fact that we continue to work together, I think puts us in a better shape to get that. We do have federal funding on Morganza now, so what our hope is when they're done with Humboldt Canal, they'll move and begin designing this floodgate. But that's all in the cards, but anything you guys can do to support that effort, we appreciate it, and we'll keep updating you as that goes forward. The Reach L is a big deal with Neil. This connects us to the Grand Bayou floodgate, connects to your system. You know, it's going to be probably over a year before that's all done. We're hoping to use have the dirt close by in the Apache Form to build that and cross Bayou Levee. And so that's a really big deal for us. That's a big step forward in having really a closed system from Rose all the way to Lafourche for us. So I mean, that's all connected together. The last thing we have is Stevie's going to come and ask you guys so that we can put a little design package together to do the next phase of Reach K, which would be dredging the remaining amount of material. But in addition to that, we need to modify the permit, and I'm going to need the flexibility to be able to negotiate some services to do that, because we're going to have to modify the permit for Reach L, which covers all of that, and we need to get that done. So I'd ask y'all to please move forward with that when we have the opportunity. That's all I got.
Mitch, I got a question.
Sure.
As I understand the system, you're gonna have eventually you're gonna have a gate across Intercoastal from the east. You've got the two locks on Bayou Lafourche and the home and navigation lock, and the one against Good Old Bayou Blue, stopping the water from coming from the south. What provisions are made to stop water from coming to Intercoastal from the west?
So there is a identical floodgate planned on the Intercoastal in Houma, right at about Miners Canal.
And that's gonna be part of your system?
That's going to be part of our system.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the deal is with the authorization of Morganza, those two intercoastal floodgates are supposed to be federal, operated and maintained by the federal government. So we, you know, with all the different changes we've made over the last couple of years, I don't know how all that's going to work out. But yeah, so, but from our perspective, with Bayou Chene, you know, nearing the end of its construction, we have a little time from the west. Even though it's not 100% connected, you're not as vulnerable as what you are over here.
I forgot about that. That's water from the Chaffalot.
That's right. And it goes directly into the intercoastal. So, you know, with that closed for a storm, you know, the western part of Terrebonne is somewhat protected. Now, it's still a pathway in there, but it's a lot harder. It takes a lot more time for it to get in the intercoastal.
You look at southwest Terrebonne and southeast Terrebonne, and the Gulf of Mexico is at the intercoastal on the east side, and the Gulf of Mexico is 40 miles south, and the intercoastal on the west side.
With very healthy
The water's
marsh,
still good.
very healthy marsh
Yeah,
on
that's
that
what I'm saying.
side.
I mean, it's like, it's wide open with Bayou Peru being wide open, but the canals over there are actually getting smaller. So they got a lot more protection. So putting that as a secondary is way secondary compared to.
But you know, man, it's different now than it was 5 years ago. I mean, the water has been so high, pretty much year round, abnormally in the intercoastal. You know, I mean, y'all see it here. I mean, you know it with La Rose. But over there, with the river high like it is, I mean, the water stays high. So, you know, we got a lot less flexibility than we used to have. You know, I mean, something's gonna need to go up there. You know, but more importantly, something needs to go up over here first. So that's where we need to focus our attention.
Okay. Thank you, Mitch. Any questions for Mitch? Okay, all south, Stevie.
So I've got a couple of Reach K projects to report on. Both of them are being done by sea level. The first one is the shaping contract, we call it. It's listed as phase 2 in your agenda. Again, sea level has been out there shaping the spoil we put out a couple of years ago. They've been out there shaping that for probably getting on 8 or 9 months now. They have shaped most of that existing material into a good looking levee. Again, I know last month I shared y'all that we had taken a video of that and shared it with a few of y'all. What they're doing under the shaping contract now is they're just shaping the dirt that we're having delivered under the next contract I'll talk to you about. So we basically have them out there shaping dirt as it's delivered by barge. The stuff that Wendell showed that's been made up from the loss of Hurricane Barry. That's really what all the shaping that they're doing on this job. We've got a change order in the project that we're requesting of $79,886.82. This change order is to keep them working for another 30 to 60 days. Again, as more material is delivered by barge, okay, they just have to keep working it. I think this is going to go on for another 2 months at this time, weather dependent. So probably this change order, perhaps another one to keep them going until we finish delivering all the new dirt that we're going to bring to Reach K. And so probably end of June, into July is when we'll be finished with this Reach K work. With that being said, we do recommend approval of change order number 4 in the amount of $79,886.82.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the engineers to change order number 4 in the amount of $79,886.82. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Roden, second by Brian. In discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And the other action item we have for you is pay app number 7 in the amount of $69,613.62, which again, we recommend approval of that one, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, $79,800 is for future work, this is the work already done.
This is the work already done, that's correct.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the engineers to pay your request number 7 in the amount of $69,613.62. Moved by Monty, second by Mac. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
And again, the second contract on the agenda is the delivery of the material. This contract is to deliver about 67,000 yards of material. They've delivered right at 41 or 42,000 yards of material. A good bit of it has already been delivered on the southern end by truck. We still have a bunch of barge delivery to do up on the northern end. They're coming out of the Tomplay property at the north. Again, this is all very weather dependent, and again, the last 30 days has been pretty wet, so when it's dry, they make good progress, and when it's wet, they got to shut down for a few days. Again, if those of you have not been out there, they've really done some good work. We're focusing this dirt delivery on the areas where we just ended up with low spots after our first project. We're trying to bring in dirt from outside to get this area up to at least an 8 consistent throughout Reach K. By the time we finish this work, we'll have an 8 consistently throughout. In many areas, we're going to be at 10s and perhaps even 12s, but we'll at least have a minimum of 8 all the way throughout Reach K. Again, for this one, we have a change order and a pay app. The first thing on the agenda is a pay app in the amount of $364,536.85. That's pay app number 5, which of course we recommend approval.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineers to pay sea level.
Sea level, yes, sir.
Pay application number 5 in the amount of $364,536.85. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Keith, second by Brett. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
And then we also have a change order for this job, which adds 14 days to the job. There's no cost to it. There's some rain days that we needed to give sea level as part of this project. And of course, we recommend change order number 2 for approval for the additional days at no cost to the board.
Okay, you have the recommendation of the engineers to change order number 2 for additional days at no added cost. Moved by Max, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the next phase of Reach K. I think Wendell has referred to this as well as Mitch a second ago. So there's a significant amount of additional dirt that can be excavated out of Grand Bayou to benefit the levee. We provided a proposal to Wendell to review, to begin that process. As Mitch has said, first thing we're gonna do is we gotta do a little survey work, and then we gotta go apply for a permit modification to dredge a good bit more material. We're talking about there might be 400,000 or 500,000 more yards of dirt in Grand Bay that we could put on the levee, which is of course a very, very low-cost way to build your levees. What we've asked for is approval to begin that work on that phase. It's probably gonna be a limited authorization from staff, and what I mean by that is just start working on the permit, start doing some preliminary design so that we can hopefully get a permit, and then we can go to full design as that process matures. So, and Wendell, I'm not sure if y'all provided that proposal to the board, if they got that in their packet, but it's
Yeah, it's-
engineering and design service.
Their estimated cost of those two engineering works is preparable. And we've gotten okay from Mitch and from Reggie.
And we might shift a little of that money around to put towards permitting as we need. But the total amount will leave as is for now.
So what are you recommending?
That's 50, 70.
Well, so we need authorization from you, we need authorization from the board for Wendell to negotiate the contract with us. That's the board action we need. right,
It's an
Wendell?
engineering contract to prepare for the
50
construction.
to 160,000.
Right.
Okay, gentlemen, if you understand it, motion. Approved by Max, second by Hines. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay.
Hey, hold on, one more thing, Mr. Chairman, which did not make the agenda, so we'd have to ask y'all to amend the agenda. We also continue to do some work for the board, getting FEMA reimbursements for many of the things that we've gone over today. We do that under a contract with the board that has an upper dollar, we do it on an hourly basis, it has an upper dollar limit. We're at the upper dollar limit on it right now. And so we're requesting an amendment to add $50,000 of capacity to that engineering contract.
I thought that's what I just did.
No, that was,
This is section, okay, that's section K, to improve and get the permits lined up to put another 500, 800,000.
Okay, so I read out the 150,000 to 160,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's what I thought. Okay, so you want to increase the proposal, okay.
Yeah, that's right, but we need to amend it to the agenda first, because it's not properly on the
And
agenda.
that we need a vote.
Put it on the agenda.
Roll call vote, right?
Yeah, put it on the
Okay, you
agenda.
have a recommendation to add increasing FEMA management proposal from 50,000 Ks to 160,000 Ks, and we need a motion to that point. Moved by Max, second by Mitch, now we need to vote, right?
Yes. Ron Collie,
Yes.
Brett DeRoche, Mitch Caddles,
Yes.
Roland Carroll,
Yes.
Roland Guidry,
Here.
Brian Martz,
Yes.
McNeely Rowe,
Yes.
Keith Guidry,
Yes.
Monty Davis.
Yes.
Unanimous.
And now we got.
So now we have to, now the board has to take action to authorize the amendment. It's a separate action that has to be taken.
Okay, gentlemen, your recommendation, your wishes. Moved by Mitch, second by Brett. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Sorry for the confusion, Mr. Chairman. That's good.
You hadn't been going there for a while.
It's almost as bad as some of the updates that Laura gave last time where we got 47 amendments and everything.
Easy. He's not here to defend himself. That's why I'm making the rules. He's not John.
I'm just glad somebody from Shreve's here to stick my back at the.
Sure. You hear Danny Wayne saying nothing.
Okay, gentlemen, let's get in order. Okay, legal permits, Mitch?
Okay, we got three of them. The first one is Louisiana Department of Transportation. The second one is S2 Energy Operating LLC, and the third one is the Port Division.
None of them.
And after these three, looking to approve the board to approve these.
Okay, you read a recommendation and the motion by the committee chairman, with a second by Keith, that we approve all three of them. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Ready? Mr. Attorney, anything? Okay. Well, you've been good, easy to work with, you know that?
He's charging them.
No problem.
He's charged.
That's why he's so easy.
We'd like to meet him, he's always taking. Yeah.
Okay, Finance Committee, Mon,
Okay, the Finance Committee met today and approved, reviewed all invoices and recommended they be paid as presented.
recommendation and moving by Monty Bag, second by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Personnel Committee.
Personnel Committee, we have nothing on the end of the report.
Okay. Any old business? Any old business? Any new business? Any new business? Gentlemen, I need a motion.
You got it.
Moved by Mack, second by Keith. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We are adjourned.
Take your time.